Two hip kicks.
Boom. Hey everybody, welcome to Finding Your Music Mojo, where Kim and Dawn usually, TC and Dawn usually talk about music. However, Dawn actually had an errand to run today. She was taking her mom to spend the week with her brother, and they had some things happen and they were unable to get back in time. So I have an adequate substitute hostess and my lovely wife, Kim, the host of Kim Takes On every Tuesday at 7, right here on TKR Video Central. Hello, honey.
Hello. Hello,
And say,
interwebs people. Well, it's not just me though. It's me and da 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 Terrence the Wonder Duck, my lovely sidekick who is always here to keep me grounded, keep me sane, and keep me from swearing. So
Terrence is
Terrence will
her
Terrence will
regular
sit here and judge.
co-host. So
Yes.
so we were
So
going to play
hey.
we were going to do this thing called spin the wheel, which Dawn and I had been talking about. We're going to do that on another show because she couldn't make it, but I figured since I could have Kim come in and wouldn't get stuck hosting by myself, that Kim would come in and help me out a little bit.
Hmm.
um, how did you
So
get started?
no porcelain Dalmatians. Sorry,
No. How did you get
wrong
started
wheel.
doing Kim's takes on? This started because I had you do a video with me for JC, an answer
Mhm.
to his request is for recommended heavy metal for a new person, and then that just
Yes.
evolved from that, and we ended up giving you your own show.
Well, trying to keep me away from a live mic is damn near next to impossible, because some people, you hear about this fear of public speaking. Gosh, what is that like? I don't know what that's like, to be honest with you. This whole podcast thing is just something that you've been doing for a while. I've done a few podcasts. And then when we decided to do videos, you're like, hey, why don't you just do a video show of your own? And I was like, well, that's great. What do I talk about? Anything you want. Anything I want? Of course, he's like, no, not anything you want, because he knows me so well. So, but so I have got Kim Takes On, which has been mostly about music, my views on music, my views on sometimes on movies and music that is used in movies, stuff like that. Because if there's two things I love, it's music and movies, and we'll actually love more things than that. But some of that stuff you guys don't need to know. So moving forward, we're over here now. Woo! Um, so when TC said that, I'm going to be a co-host short, would you like to come out and help? I would say it. I said it absolutely. So if you're out there in, internet land, please, send us a little message or whatever. We'll shout you out, say hey, answer any questions you might have, as long as it's not about taxes or whatever or politics. Please no.
So keep it
Um,
music related,
keep it
as this
music,
is a vital
please.
community show.
Keep it music.
So
Keep it music. Um, so, what can I tell you about me that you actually care about? Well, like
well,
I mentioned, I love music. I grew up listening to a lot of music. Mostly the music I listened to as a kid was whatever my parents were listening to. Like 'cause we always had music on in the house. There was always, when my dad would be working on stuff, like, in the basement, like dad stuff, or when he would be outside having me wash his truck or having me mow the lawn, etc. and so forth. Daddy issues? Who has daddy issues? I don't have daddy issues. My dad would have the radio on, my mom would have the radio on in the car when we would go places and stuff like that. So I listened to it's weird because I listened to a lot of AM stations when I was a kid. Um, Back when AM stations played music, which I guess is kind of a thing that they don't do now, I guess.
A lot of AM stations do they do music, but most of them are like sports or news or
Most of them
farm
seem
or
to be talk
depending on where
or
you are.
yeah,
Yeah.
talk radio or, news or sports or blah blah whatever. But when I was a kid, it was that was, the music stations and stuff like that. So I heard a lot of I guess the term is adult contemporary stuff.
When you were growing up, it was called easy listening.
Well, well, to me, easy listening music is a swear. But
Easy listening music to you is what we used to call beautiful music. Beautiful music became easy listening music when easy listening music became adult contemporary music.
easy music is what I used to call Sears music.
Right,
Back
right.
when there
And
was a
then
Sears, and when you that's the well, the thing was, I remember going to stores and hearing like you'd hear a song, but it wasn't the right version of the song. It was something that would be like it would be slower. It would be an instrumental version. It would have like xylophones or marimbas in it, or just it'd be really weird and you'd go, wait, I know that song before they decided to take it and ruin it. But anyway, um, like I said, I
yeah,
remember
you
hearing
are not into that the way I am because I've as people
no.
know, I am a big beautiful music slash easy listening fan, and I've talked about it on other shows
Mhm.
and in other places. I know it drives you crazy. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
No, it's okay. No, it's your thing. And I mean, some of it, I have to be honest, some of it is all right. Some of it to me is very cringy, but I think it's done purposefully to be cringy. I don't know. I'm not sure how you can listen to something ironically, but I guess whatever. I don't know.
I don't buy
Um,
that term anyway.
I know you don't, but I remember hearing stuff on the radio like Sarah Smile from Hall and Oates and stuff like that. Sultans of Swing, Dire Straits, things like that. Um, I didn't grow up listening to a lot of country music. Um, my
Lucky
parents just
you.
weren't my parents weren't really into it. The closest I got to country music was my cousin Carol, who owned some John Denver LPs. So my that was country music to me with John Denver. And I know there's probably some country music fans out there now that want to wing a brick at my head.
No, John Denver
Feel
was
free.
John Denver won a ton of country music awards in the mid '70s. I remember him watching from Australia one year when he was up for all those awards, and every time he won, he was far out, man. That's how just John was.
Yeah. Um I didn't really start getting into hard rock, heavy metal, stuff like that. Mm, I would say probably when MTV came along was when I started leaning towards, more, I have control over the television. I can watch what I like. And, oh, here's this MTV thing. And what the hell is all this stuff? You know, um, it's really weird to think about the fact that you have to explain to younger generations. Yeah, MTV used to just show videos. That's it. That's all they showed was
MTV,
videos.
the M in MTV used to stand for music.
Yeah, not morons. Um, Not to say that I mean there's just now it's like oh my gosh now they make a big we're going to show videos for an hour. Bitch, you used to show videos 24/7. It's like crying out loud.
Yeah,
But I started to get into harder music, not the really hard stuff that to me that was, I just never really got into the stuff that was the really angry stuff, that's but which is, if that's your deal, that's your deal. And then I got, as I got a little older, got into high school and stuff like that. Then I found out about glam and there was no
And her
turning back.
libido kicked in, and then she was gone.
Yeah, that was it. Yep. Um, it was
How
no
the hell
turning
did you
back
end
after
up with
that
me then?
because I see your inner beauty, Puddin'. How'd you end up with how'd you end up with me?
Oh, I see the same thing.
Yeah, we're just two sickos that found each other. So,
Yeah, pretty much.
um, and I mean, I will be perfectly honest. I'm not even going to try and hide it. I worked at a bookstore, which was a place where they used to sell books that weren't on the computer, kids. It's amazing. Um, and it was, we sold books and we sold magazines. And one of the magazines that we sold was a magazine called Metal Edge. And oh my gosh, did that change my life. I mean that we have sold a ton of other music magazines, most of which have probably ceased printing by now. I
A
don't
lot of them
know.
have, yeah, or they're
Yeah, I
online
know.
only.
I know. Like, Kerrang and Rip and Circus, stuff like that. But
Mhm.
Metal Edge was my magazine. When that came in every month, I was always like, mine, give me. And I would sit there and go through the stuff about like, the hot new bands and stuff like that. They would bring up bands to watch and stuff like that. And I'd be like, ooh, their singer looks cute. Ooh, their drummer looks cute. Ooh, that whole band is hot. And that's how
Hot
I would
hot
decide
new
that
bands did not mean hot as in hot, you
you
know.
take hot your way, I'll take hot my way. And that is how I would pick the bands that I would go listen to. Yes, I was a closet rock groupie because no one believes me about this, but when I was in high school, I was painfully shy. Can you believe that? I was painfully, ridiculously wouldn't talk to people unless I was forced to shy. I mean, besides the fact that I was actually a seething ball of angst, daddy issues, self-loathing, and hair, um,
So you were
I was
cousin Ed.
I yeah, I used to literally comb my hair down in front of my face so people I wouldn't talk to me and stuff. I was hurting.
Don
Cream, yep,
remembers
Don, hi
Cream, yep.
Don, yep, Cream
Hi,
magazine.
Don.
We used to sell that. And I used to get anything that, of course, there was certain bands, anything, if it had Guns N' Roses on it, mine. Had Def Leppard on it, mine. And
Nelson.
I would, huh?
Nelson.
Nelson, yep. Oh, Nelson was a revelation. That was I saw the video for I Live in Affection, and I was like something out of a Tex Avery cartoon. My eyes bugged out. There was smoke coming out of my ears. It was just, when I like something, I like something.
You behaved
Um,
yourself very well when we met them.
yes, I think I did too, because I didn't pass out. So yay! If I don't pass out, it's a good day. But of course, the thing is, when I was in high school, also was when all of that nonsense started with the PMRC. Now, those of you who are
Parents
of a young
Resource Moron Center.
yeah, those of you who are of a younger age and will not remember this bullshit. This was a bunch of people that decided that, oh my goodness, the ruination of our children is heavy metal music. Yep.
Yeah,
Just
so I
like
think they got the idea from the heavy metal poisoning video from Styx off of the Kilroy Was Here album. Probably where
I
it
don't
came
know.
from.
Personally, Terrence has some things he'd like to say about that, but I've already told Terrence, naughty ducky, you can't use those kind of words. Um, Ter- Terrence is a closet headbanger. I know he looks cute, but don't let his looks fool you. He's a maniac. Um, but they started this whole thing about how heavy metal was ruining society, just like let me see, rock and roll was ruining society back in the 50s. Comic books, movies, pro wrestling, rap music,
Television.
the television, and then of course in later years it was the internet, social media, pretty much anything where parents could look at what's going on and saying, "Oh, this stuff is making our kids act bad because some parents don't want to, parent." So the PMRC says the person with no kids. So the PMRC comes along, headed by Tipper Gore. All right, threw up in my mouth a little bit. Um, who she was the head of this group of people, and they decided, well, we're going to slap these stickers um onto records at the time. Although I think they were on CDs too, and
Yeah,
possibly tapes.
yeah.
This
They were
big,
on everything. Yeah.
yeah, this big ass sticker that said, "Ooh, warning, parental advisory, suggestive lyrics, blah blah blah." You know what that sticker needed to really say? That sticker, that great big sticker, needed to really say, "Hey kids, this album will piss off mom and dad. Buy it right now." Basically, that's all it did.
Which is, yeah,
That's
that was basically the effect it had.
Yep, had the complete total opposite effect. And people, I mean, I'm sorry, I think that's how some bands got famous, is because people saw your parents don't want you to have this, and people were breaking their necks running to the record stores trying to buy stuff. I mean, did I do things like that? Maybe. Um, not with my mom. My mom, bless her, knew what my mom was, a wonderful person, and left me to my. It's not that she didn't care. She just knew that I was already screwed up. So what was music going to do that make me any worse? My dad, on the other hand, I remember my dad looking at my album of "Look What the Cat Dragged In" from Poison and being like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "That's the band." Are those guys? Yes, they are, Dad. Are you sure? Yes, they are, Dad. Because I'm thinking, well, I'd like to know them in a biblical sense. So, yes, Dad, they're definitely guys. Of course, I didn't say that out loud because my dad would have probably cracked me in the mouth. So, you know, what can you say? But
Hey, well, at
I,
least he knew who the boss was.
oh, can I tell you want me to tell that story?
Sure.
Okay. Everybody out there who, y'all know how your parents are. They try. I mean, they do try, bless them. I think this happens with every generation. It's not just your generation and mine. I think it's everybody's generation goes through this thing where your parents at some point try to reach out to you by mentioning something that they know that you know. It's kind of their way of establishing something of a rapport, you know, being like, "Hey, I'm not just your parent, I'm your pal." And when in the name of everything decent has that ever worked? Um, what TC's talking about is one time we were all having dinner, and I was complaining because I was a teenager, or yeah, I was still a teenager. I was complaining that a local sports arena, they were going to have the Jacksons there for their world tour. They were allowing the Jacksons to play, but they weren't allowing Bruce Springsteen. And my dad goes, "Yeah, it's a shame they're not going to let the boss play there." And I just kind of was like, "What?" And he's like, "The boss. That's what you kids call Bruce Springsteen, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Dad. That's that's what we call him, Dad. Yep. Way to go." Inside, I'm like, I want to stab myself with my fork. I just, it's, but seriously, I mean, at least some parents do try. And I think it's a great thing when you see, I mean, we've been to concerts where we've seen people show up with their kids, and
Yeah.
that's always fun, as long as they know that there might be some salty language.
Well, one of the
'Cause,
coolest ones we saw was a father and his daughter at the Striper show.
yeah, that was
That was
great.
very cool. I mean, I feel bad because they probably got stuck because they came from Woburn and they expected to get out on time and it was a little bit late and
Yeah,
yeah, they probably had to take a taxi all the way out to Woburn, which would have been a pain.
probably. Um, that was we were at a Striper concert because of me. I'd also like to bring that up. And I know some people are probably rolling their eyes right now, but I got into Striper when I was in I it was I think they're Yellow and Black. No, it was To Hell with the Devil. I think I got into it with that. And I really do feel like they really touched a part of my spirit that, I was like, wow, this music really means something to me. Not that all music doesn't mean something, because I really do feel like music, I mean, music is something that we can use to reach out to each other as a species. I
Hmm.
mean, we don't all have to like the same music, but if you wind up hearing something that you've never heard before and you're like to talking to somebody else and being like, "Oh wow, I've never heard that song before. What's that song?" And they tell you, "Oh, well, it's this band that I really like." And you're like, "Oh wow, I really like that." And they're like, "Do you want me to send you a file of it, email it to you?" And you're like, "Cool." And then you listen to it and you wind up becoming a fan or something like that. I mean, one of the most beautiful tear-jerking movies we ever saw is about music at its heart, and it's a movie called The Music Never Stopped. And this is a beautiful, gorgeous, funny, sad, amazing film that is based on a true story. If you ever get a chance to check it out, please do. Bring tissues. You will cry.
It
Or
is a
another,
great movie. Yeah.
just another movie about, and obviously music is really important, not only just because it's music and it's pretty or whatever, but you have music that is important to other people's cultures. Like, look at a movie like Coco,
Yeah.
which is another movie where music is so important, and it's so important in the culture of Mexico. And that's another movie that, I'm sorry, if the end of Coco does not make you cry or at least tear up, I don't want to know you, because you are a sociopath. If the end of that movie doesn't at least make you well up a little bit, there is something wrong with you. It's so beautiful, but it's so sad.
Mm.
Um, what's your take on musicals, hun?
Me?
Yeah.
I like musicals usually, but we did before Kim joined my channel here, we for 15 years hosted a podcast called
Mhm.
Subject Cinema. It was you can catch most of them on our P&R Network's YouTube
Yep.
channel. We've actually done we had a show we did every year called Masochistic March, and we did bad musicals one year.
Yeah, we did.
But for the
Oof.
most part, I don't have a problem with musicals. They're fun, they're goofy,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
don't have a problem with musicals either. Well, the thing is, the my thing about musicals is that sometimes you have a musical where the fact that all of a sudden people start bursting out singing and dancing,
Like
it
Grease.
makes sense. Then you have stuff where you're going, "What?" It's just so weird that all of a sudden, people that were just talking a minute ago, and now they're all da 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 da. It's like, I what? Um, I think like a good example of a movie with terrible music, but it makes sense where the music is because it's about a band, is a movie called Miami Connection, where, all the songs are because the main characters are in a band. So all of the songs are them performing. Granted, the songs suck, but I mean,
And the
all
movie
right, that
sucks. It's
wasn't
one of our
that wasn't
favorite
nice.
guilty
That
bad
wasn't that
movies, you
wasn't.
know?
I mean, I went.
You don't wanna hear Against the Ninja again?
My other option is what? Slamming my hand in a car door?
Listening to Friday for a week.
That's just cruel. Cruel and sick. Crying out loud. Um, I mean, I did do a rant about Miami Connection during my Kim Takes On, where I was talking about some really great scores and soundtracks and some really shitty scores and soundtracks, and that's one of them. But sometimes when you see a musical, I mean, some things where you have people bursting into song and stuff, it really works, even though it's not a situation where people normally singing and dancing
Uh-huh.
would make sense. A really good example of that, I think, is The Wizard of Oz, because it's in this alternate universe or dimension or whatever or what have you, or a dream. if you want to be a Debbie Downer and be like, "Oh, the whole thing was a dream." It wasn't. Um, I don't buy that. So having all these characters sing and dance and stuff like that to explain their their stories and all the like if I only had a brain or a heart or a knife or and all that stuff like that. I thought that was really cool because it moves the story along and it puts those songs in your head and stuff like that. And let's face it, Judy Garland singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow is just beautiful. Fiddler on the Roof goes. Yes, gone. Fiddler on the Roof does go on for a while. But there's some really pretty songs in that too. Sunrise, Sunset is a beautiful song.
Yeah.
We actually did Fiddler on the Roof. That was one of the drama club things that we did back in oh gosh, I was in junior high and they did that. That was really it was interesting, but yeah, it's one of those you kind of do kind of sit there and go, okay, yep, if you were a rich man, okay, yeah, we get it. Okay, can we speed this up, please? No, you're totally right about that.
Okay,
Um,
let me take a turn
okay.
about when you brought it you've opened the subject by bringing it up. You have been on stage more often than I have,
Hmm,
but you started way back in junior high
I
playing
did.
Miss Hannigan in Annie,
I did.
and then you played one of the apostles in Godspell.
That was in college. Yep,
Yeah, and also were in a production of The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas in
true.
college.
Mhm. I was also
What
in
wa
cabaret.
And Cabaret, yeah, okay, well, I wasn't here, yeah, I didn't know you when Cabaret was there, but I did
Yep.
know you from the other ones. The, um, does that does that shape how you see musicals, having been in them?
I think so. I I mean, yeah, it does because sometimes when you're in a musical, you are kind of going, okay, so we've just found out that somebody's, you know, something bad's happened, so we're going to sing a sad song now. Yeah, sure, that happens in real life. Um, there is there is such a rush though about being on stage and being in a musical. I got to be honest with you, being in a musical is hard. It is hard to be in a musical because you besides learning your lines, which can be difficult. Now you've got to learn songs. You've got to learn and then there's always that other bugaboo choreography and to all of the choreographers that I made cry in college because teaching me how to dance is like trying to teach a cat to play checkers. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I drove some of you to drink because it was like I mean I do actually know my right from my left, honest I do. But for some reason dancing I don't I'm not I can't it's just bad. I mean, I like to think I'm an okay singer. I like to think I do okay with the acting stuff, but dancing forget it.
I
You
can
might as
vouch for
well
both the singing and the acting, you are excellent at both.
I just thank you. But and Terrence thanks you too. But I just I'm not a dancer. I was in shows with some people who were amazing dancers and I would be like, "Wow." I just loved the way that they would dance and it was so beautiful and graceful and I'd just be like clunk 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 clunk. I always compare my dancing if you've ever seen the clip from Fantasia of the hippo and the alligator dancing. I'm
Mhm.
not the alligator.
I think
Uh
you're over, I think that's a terrible comparison.
oh well. Dawn, I see what I can understand where you're the Blues Brothers I'm sorry. That is not an unpopular opinion because I'm sorry. I saw that movie and I got to the end of it and I'm like, I don't get it. I was I don't know. I mean I know some people probably are furious with me now, but other than other than the whole thing where they're singing Rawhide in the bar with where they have all the chicken wire and stuff because people are flinging bottles at them and things like that. The part where they're singing Rawhide to get them to stop throwing stuff. I like that part of the Blues Brothers. That's about it. Although, no, I tell a lie. I like the part with Aretha Franklin. because it's Aretha Franklin. Come on. But I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know what it was about that movie that I didn't get, but I just remember sitting there and being like, I don't get it. I don't get why I'm supposed to like this. But that's just my take. And apparently
Yeah.
yours too, Don. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. No judgment here. Well,
Randy
I'm not
says, before
judging
you say
anybody.
anything negative about Blues Brothers, you better think.
Well, Randall, I did say I did like the part with Aretha Franklin singing that, so you can't be too mad at me. You can't be too mad at me. And Carrie Fisher or no Carrie Fisher, I just yep. She does say
Hanson,
thank she's
Hanson, my everybody knows my fascination with Hanson. They actually did a parody of the Blues Brothers, more like a tribute. And the video for Thinking About Something, it's taken
yeah,
right out of the original movie. And it includes them dancing with half of their fans in Tulsa and everything. And it's a
yeah.
great little video. If you've never seen it, look it up. It's from 2010. Is there a part in a musical that you have always wanted to play that haven't yet dropped into your lap, or that you feel like you've aged out of?
Aged out of? What are you
Huh?
talking about? Are you implying I'm
Well,
old?
no, no. You know what I mean. We've had that discussion.
Terrence is on the phone to the crisis hotline now.
Oh, for Pete's
Um,
sake. Okay.
no,
Do
no, no, no,
you
no, no,
think you are not Hyacinth Bouquet? You are not going to play in The Boyfriend at age
no.
50, blah, blah, blah.
I know,
So,
I know.
okay.
Is there any part that there's a few. Not so much aged out of stuff because I know I am no spring chicken and there is no way I'm gonna get cast as Tracy Turnblad or Hairspray or whatever. Edna, I wouldn't have a problem playing Edna Turnblad. Although I don't know if they've actually ever cast
They
a
don't
woman
cast
in that
women. It's
part.
always
They
cast
only
as a
usually
man.
cast
Yeah.
men. To be perfectly honest, the one part that I would absolutely there's a couple actually that I would love to get my hands on. Madame Morrible from Wicked. I would love to play that. Um and that's not an enormous part, but it's one of those parts that you can really make your own.
Hmm.
Um and I would absolutely love to play Ursula in the stage version of The Little Mermaid because that would be a frickin' blast. I love the song Poor Unfortunate Souls, and I would have such a ball playing that kind of a part. Um, I don't have a problem with going out there and making an ass of myself. Anybody who's seen me in a show has seen that. I and I just feel like if you're going to go out there and you're playing a flamboyant character, go be flamboyant. I mean, sometimes that's kind of backfired, but not terribly bad. I mean, the one time that I remember it happening was um my I was in Godspell, and before I left to go do the show, my mother's like, "Why don't you put something on your face?" And I'm like, "It'll be fine when I get to the show, Mom." I'm at the show, and she's seen the show for the first time, and I've got the hearts and stuff drawn all over my face. After the show, she's like, "Really?" I said, "Put something on your face," and that's what you come up with. I'm like, "You said put something on my face. I put something on my face." And
We
she's
should
like,
we should also have you explain something about this particular show. You did Godspell when you were in college,
"Yes."
and the
So
director
the
of
24
the
apostles.
show
Yeah.
was so not wanting people not to be in the show that you ended up having double the apostles that are
Yep.
really there.
Well, to back up a little bit, this was one of the first shows I did in college, and we were going to do we got we did auditions and this that and the other thing. When we did the auditions, we were going to do a play called How to Eat Like a Child. Then we went on holiday break. We come back from holiday break. Okay, we're not doing How to Eat Like a Child. We're doing Godspell now. I was like, what? Uh, what? And we were also like, a few of us were like, oh, everybody does Godspell. And now I know why, because Godspell is amazing and was a really incredible, joyous experience that I would never give up in a kabillion years. Um, So the thing is, we had everybody from How to Eat Like a Child, and now we've got everybody. Okay, we're going to take all these people and put them in Godspell. So for anybody out there who has been living in a cave since the 1960s and doesn't know, Godspell is a musical adaptation of the Gospel of St. Matthew. Um, so you have Jesus Christ, who was played by a guy named Charles, who was very nice in a Superman shirt and tie-dye pants. I'm trying to remember. I'm not sure if we did the Superman shirt. We did do the tie-dye pants though.
I don't think he did the
So
Superman shirt, at least not on the video I saw.
no, I don't. I don't think he did. I'm not sure now. It's been so
But the
long.
tie-dye pants
Uh,
were cool.
yeah, they were. They were nice. They were very nice tie-dye pants. Um, so you have Jesus Christ and the 12 apostles, which in this was played by men and women because auditions, and that's who showed up. Um, and the problem was you had some people that were in this show because they were taking the theater class, and that was literally part of the class that you be in this show. So she can't cut people because that's not fair, and she can't cut
Yeah.
people who aren't in the class because that's not really nice either. And Shay was a wonderful director and a very nice lady. So we wind up with 24 apostles,
Yeah.
whatever, you know. And
Tell the bead
we had it,
story.
huh?
Tell the
Oh, the
bead
bead,
story.
oh, the bead story. Oh my gosh. Okay. The bead story is this. I also have to explain when I'm on stage, I don't wear my glasses. Um, I make sure when I'm doing rehearsals and things, I don't wear my glasses. So I'm used to walking around without my glasses on. I've never stepped into anything. I've never tripped over furniture or anything like that. So
Never
that's
fallen
fine.
off the stage.
Never fallen off the stage. Come very close on a one slanted stage, but it was okay. So there's a part in the show where I'm supposed to grab this person and almost do like a judo flip. Now, I'm not really doing anything. I'm just giving them a little shove and they're flipping themselves over. So we get to that part of the show. I do the shove. They flip. Now, all I hear is roll, 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 roll. There's something rolling across the floor. Now, when I hear this noise, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I just broke Bruce's shoulder. That's all I could think was that I grabbed him too hard and flipped him too hard because yay, adrenaline. And now I've hurt this kid. No. What happened was the outfit this kid was wearing, it had, I think they call it an epaulette and
Uh-huh.
or something like that. It was like
Right.
like um
On the shoulder.
on the shoulder. It was a little um glob. I don't know how else to word it of these little black beads. I mean, it almost
Uh-huh.
looked like he had a little. It was almost like he had a clump of raspberries on his shoulder or blackberries or something like that. So he hits the stage and the beads break and they roll everywhere. Now, the thing is, this just shows you that the universe does have a sense of humor, is the fact that, okay, in the next scene, we're supposed to threaten to stone this woman to death. So everybody's grabbing up the beads as fast as they can, and they're holding them in their hands, and they're all, rah, 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 angry crowd noises, because we're going to stone this girl. And that's how we got them off stage. With everybody's grabbing them to use them for the scene where this girl gets stoned. And it was like one of those just ridiculous live moments, live, you know,
Did the
on.
audience figure out what happened?
I don't think so. It. I. I don't think they did because we kept going. Nope, we didn't stop.
Right.
Other than we stopped to be like,
Oh, yeah, the show must
sure,
go
we're
on.
angry and yelling at this girl, and all this stuff like that. I don't think they got it. I don't think they realized something was wrong. I actually do have another funny theater story if you guys want to be humored.
Sure.
Um, this this wasn't a this wasn't a musical, and I wasn't actually on stage for this. Um, I was part of the backstage crew for we were doing a play. We were actually doing it was two plays. There were two short plays, and we were doing um there were just one act plays and stuff like that. And so we set up we set up the sets and stuff like that, and had the flats up and all this stuff like that. Now we're backstage, and you and anybody who's been in a a production knows when you are backstage, you are quiet. You are quiet, quiet, quiet. Can't say anything. Um, so there's a girl and a guy on stage, and they're supposed to be this young couple. And we're hearing the dialogue, and we've heard this dialogue over and over and over again, so we all know what the dialogue is. So we're all sitting there backstage, and all of a sudden we hear this noise, and it's like boom, ba-doom, 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 ba-doom. And there's a moment of silence, and then we hear from the stage, "Damn, I dropped my apple." This kid who's playing the male lead dropped the apple that he's supposed to be cutting when he's on stage, fell out of his hand, and just rolled off. We're back now. We can't laugh backstage. We're dying. We're all like sitting there going, no, I mean nobody can laugh. We all got our hands up in our mouths. We're all like holding our kids. Just it was the funniest damn thing though, but it was so funny. Um, it was just one of those weird moments, and for a while with that guy, every time we walked by, we'd be like, "Damn it, drop my apple." He'd be like, "You guys are the worst." And we're like, "We know." That was also
Well,
a
at
show
least he
that we.
covered for himself pretty well.
Yeah, we did. We're like, "Hey, we're not mad at you. You did a great job covering up. That was you good job." The director was backstage like, "I don't believe that happened." And we were all like, "We do. Live theater. Gotta love it. Always gotta have something going on." Is there any kind of place where you can think of that it would be absolutely ridiculous to do a musical? I mean, we've seen some musicals that are set in some pretty dumb places.
You mean
I
for a
think
setting?
the dumbest thing I ever heard was Paint Your Wagon. I mean,
See, that was a classic show. My uncle was a huge fan of the Broadway show. It wasn't so much the
the
movie.
Broadway show,
Uh,
the musical, Clint Eastwood
well, that was the
singing.
movie though. That was the
Yeah, but
movie,
that's
that not the Broadway show.
no, but seriously, it's like Clint Eastwood and Lee Marvin singing. What could go wrong with this?
Well, I mean, in today's modern society, a way that they do musicals, 90% of them are now what they call jukebox musicals. There's so few coming around. You need a second? Okay. Hang on just a second. Uh, I'll see when she's ready. Today's modern musical is done mostly with the jukebox stuff, where they just basically take the whole collection and make it.
Very sorry
Nope,
about that.
no problem. Let me get you back on camera here. The musicals of today are taken from the catalog of the artists. I mean, you've got Donna Summer, you've got Cher, you've got Michael Jackson, you've got ABBA started this trend with Mamma Mia.
Hmm.
You have all these things that are they're done like that. I don't know that it's still possible to do an original musical anymore. I mean, they try. I know the bands visit one a ton of things. So,
Um, I don't know. I mean, I like to think that there's always a chance for originality out there, but you never really know.
mhm.
Well, changing the question a little, is there anybody that you would like to see someone do a jukebox musical of that hasn't been done yet?
Um, I still think a couple of the ideas that we had tossed around with the idea of formulating shows around Jim Steinman's music,
Yeah,
or around the music of Simple Plan. who I think are terrific ambassadors for teenage angst and how they feel. Both of those would make great jukebox musicals. Um, over the course of the time, the last original play that I can remember that I really loved is Rent. It is actually feels sort of like a jukebox musical because it's so pop, has such good pop music in it.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of other bands that I definitely think you could make a really good jukebox musical with their stuff.
Hmm.
One of them is Supertramp. I think that you
Yeah.
could get an amazing jukebox musical out of Supertramp. I don't entirely know if you could get one out. I'd like to think you could get one out of Kiss because I'm an enormous Kiss fan.
And Jaden,
Um,
and of course, as long as you pay Gene enough, he'll do it.
I didn't say that. I ain't kicking that hornet's nest. Forget it. Um, I think Queen would
Well,
be incredible.
Queens had one. It's just never made it to the American shores. We Will Rock You ran over there for a number of years in London's West End, and
Yeah,
I don't know why it never really clicked here and never made it to Broadway or anything. It's a terrific show. I have the soundtrack. It's a terrific show.
I think that there's another band. This one might kind of people might be a little bit like who? I mean, I don't know the record. The record community. You're a smart bunch. I definitely think that Bowling for Soup could do a really good jukebox musical. I do. Because a lot of their songs really have that kind of they sound like they're happy and then you read the lyrics and you're like, "Wait a minute. This
Just
song is
set
really
up the
deep or this
premise of about a young set up the premise using 1985 as the center
yeah.
storyline.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. I think that
that's
I would think that would work. I really
that's the kind
do.
of thing I wanted to do with Simple Plan. Welcome to My Life. One of their greatest
Mhm.
songs would be a great teenage musical. It's similar to Duncan Sheik's Spring Awakening in that way. I think that they could do a lot of interesting stuff. Of course, I'm still waiting. One thing that COVID did for us is it ruined the stage version of Empire Records. It was supposed to premiere in 2020 for the movie's 25th anniversary.
Mhm.
And I love that movie. I know you're not a huge fan, but I worked in record retail for years, and so it hits close to home for me. And that movie is one of my favorites, and the musical featuring the songs from the soundtrack and original music would have been great. They're still working on it. I don't know when it's going to premiere, but I'd still love to see that eventually come to fruition as well.
Yeah, I definitely think it's not that I didn't dislike the movie. I disliked the cast, or the characters, I guess would be a better way to put it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, some of those people, if I worked with them, there would have been problems. Um,
I
but
think that's the point.
yeah, I know. Well, I'm so sure sometimes I wasn't the easiest person to work with when I worked at the bookstore or whatever. Um, Although I'd like to think my coworkers they liked having me in work because people would come in and be like, "Hi, I'm looking for a book, but I don't know the author, and I don't know the title, and I don't know what it's about, but there's a dog on the cover." And they'd be like, "You see that girl down there in the red shirt stacking stuff? Go talk to her." And usually I'd find it. So, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I know that feeling from record retail too. Believe me, it's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. A lot of crazy stuff. So, what do you listen to now? I mean, in addition to being a metal fan, you've really,
Mhm.
I mean, you're hard pressed to admit some of the stuff that you actually listen to now.
I would be hard pressed if I gave a crap what people thought about me anymore.
To certain
Um,
people, to
I
certain people.
don't. Um, well, I kind of there's a lot of stuff that I still listen to. I still listen to a lot of the metal and stuff like that. Matthew Sweet stuff like that. Um, I am an unabashed and don't care who knows it Ed Sheeran fan. His song "Perfect" makes my knees
Perfect
go
makes her
all
ears go
wobbly.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, my knees go all wibbly when I hear that song. Um, I I listen to a little bit of everything, really. I mean, I actually do listen. I wound up listening to some country music because of one of the people that I worked with. They played country music a lot. and I wound up actually being like, "Hey, some of this stuff is pretty good." And I actually went back and listened to like some really older stuff. I saw the movie I Saw the Light with Tom Hiddleston as Hank Williams Sr. Um, and I really started listening to a lot of old Hank Williams stuff, and I was like, "This is really poignant. It's
Oh,
really,
you poor child.
I know you have a bad memories of that and
I
stuff. I
have
mean,
I have had memories associated with Hank Williams music, so I'm just not gonna. I won't go into that, but it's kind of nuts.
I like I said, I kind of I love I still love, like I said, metal. I love a lot of instrumental stuff. I'm a huge fan of Impoliteri, which is a guitar player. I love Michael Lee Firkins. I still love Michael Lee Firkins. He's an amazing guitar player. Um, I I think I'll try anything once when it comes to music. I mean, I'll as if it's something that there have been a few things that I've been like, nope, that are really popular and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Um, and
Well, yeah, but
sometimes
I mean, the whole world, has the different opinions. That's what's so cool about the vinyl community is everybody likes something different. I'm the
right,
pop guy. I'm in the very teeny tiny minority. I'm a teen idols person and a pop and disco person. Most of the vinyl community are prog or heavy metal or classic rock. So it all depends on where you're coming from.
right. I've wound up liking a lot of. I mean, well, this is the one thing that you've always given me a problem with. That sometimes if I hear a version of something that I love and it's being done differently, that you're like, well, you won't like that. And I'm like, I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to be more open minded about the idea of, you know, listening to a song that I really love being done in a completely different style by somebody else. Still don't like Sheryl Crow's version of Sweet
I
Child of
was
Mine. Not
just gonna
changing my
say
mind
I
about
was
that. It's just,
uh,
I'm just like, I don't hate it anymore, but I don't, it's just no. Sorry, just no.
Randall's one of our Grateful Dead
Hi,
fans in the
Randall.
vinyl community and also jazz,
Do you
classic
ever follow?
rock.
Do you ever follow them? The Dead? Do you ever follow the Dead?
Indie rock, and a little
Okay.
death metal too, he says here. I can get it to come up.
Well,
There we
that's
go.
yeah. Well, it's not exactly the kind of music that you want to bounce out of bed and listen to first thing in the morning. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, yawn, stretch, get the day going. Let's play some Cannibal Corpse.
But it is.
That's not really.
Oh, wow. Okay, there you go.
Wow, damn, Randall, that's impressive, bro. That's crazy. Wow.
We haven't even seen Hanson that many times.
No,
So,
we
not that
we
I
weren't
wouldn't, if I had the money and I could travel when they tour, or Daddy Freyr, I would do it. But,
we were in Quincy Market one time where the Dead was playing at Boston Garden, and I'd never been around Deadheads before. That was an experience.
it was
I
very
was like,
cool.
no, it was. I was like, so that's what patchouli smells like. I was like, okay, that's interesting. I mean, they were all super nice.
Don't be
They were all.
stereotypical, dear.
I'm not being stereotypical. I don't think I am. They were all super nice and friendly, but you definitely knew they were there to see the Dead. You know. Well,
Yep.
oh, don't be modest. I know. Yeah, a lot of people see. Well, that's why they're Deadheads. And that's cool. I mean, if that's your thing and that's what you want to do. Well, Fish, that's one song and it's an hour and a half. It's like if you listen to,
I'm sorry, Randy. She's being a pain.
I'm a comedian. What do you want?
I know. I
But
know.
no, if you can play it, look, I'm the one that loves the live version of Freebird, and I will admit, if you're not ready for how long that is, you are going to be sitting there going, "Oh my gosh, when is this song going to end?" Not me. Okay, yeah, well, okay, see, fine. I'm not. See, Randall
Nope.
agrees with me, so I'm not over.
Yep.
I'm not
No,
stereotyping
you're
for
not. You're
there.
not.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Terrence says yeah too. Um, Do you ever see anything really crazy at the concerts, Randall? You ever see anybody do something nuts like jump on stage or jump off stage or anything like that? I've never seen anything crazy happen at a concert.
No,
The only
not really.
the only thing I ever saw that was crazy was how much the audience hated Faster Pussycat as the opening act for Alice Cooper. Oh my gosh, they hated that band.
Well, that
If they could
doesn't.
have,
It's understandable. Faster Pussycat and Alice Cooper are not compatible music mostly.
well,
Really, it's
if
like
they could
Jimi
have,
Hendrix and the Monkees.
yeah, probably. I mean, if they could have thrown the chairs, they probably would have. And I'm there at the concert by myself, and I'm like, yeah, what they're saying, because I'm not disagreeing with them because I don't want to be kicked to death by a bunch of metalheads. Oh, that stinks. But it's
um,
cool that you've been that many times. That's crazy.
yeah. Before we get going here, let's go into your darker side. What are some of the songs? Now you know mine, and most people know most people know mine. What are some of the songs that make you crazy?
My darker side,
Yeah.
darker than the one I already show people.
Well, you know what I mean.
Oh, when you
Musically,
say songs that make me like that I hate,
you
you
do
mean?
not like Rebecca Black's Friday.
Nobody likes Rebecca Black's Friday.
Somebody did. She earned $1 million off of it. Somebody liked
That's
it.
that's that whole listening ironically thing again. Um, what songs do I really not like? Okay, don't change that song. That's cool. That's great, right? Thanks for letting us know. That's awesome. What songs do I really hate? Escape, the Pina
Yeah.
Colada song. I hate this friggin' song. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Um, I hate My Way. I don't know why I hate it. I don't know why I hate that song. I've heard that song sung by Frank Sinatra and Sid Vicious. So I've heard both ends of things.
You don't even like Elvis's version, huh?
I'm not crazy. It's no, because it makes me think of like jumpsuit Elvis in Vegas, and I get sad.
Okay. Fair enough.
Um,
Fair enough.
oh, I'm trying to think of what other songs I really. You know what song I really just never understood all the craziness. Oh, okay, that's real. Okay, yeah, I didn't know, but I knew who Faster Pussycat was when I saw them, and I was like, this is not gonna work, and I was right. It didn't work. Um, oh gosh, what other songs do I really can't stand? Um, man, that's hard because anything that I don't like, I just try and just throw it out of my brain and try not to think about it. Um, boy,
I think Escape is the one you complain about the most.
oh, I really
And
hate
it's
that
because you
song.
find the people completely unlikable,
The
both of them
characters
in
in
the
that
song.
song suck. F the both of them. They're just rotten
Yeah,
people.
I think you'll agree
Um,
with this too.
Randall, I
She
complete.
screams it. She
Yep,
screams it.
she's screaming by the end of it. And if you've heard Dolly's version, there's no comparison. There's,
No.
I mean, Whitney Houston had an amazing voice. She had a beautiful voice, and it's such a shame that we lost her so young. But it just seems like so many songs by the end of it, she was yelling. And
Yeah.
I don't understand that because her voice was so amazing. I mean, that's the way they wanted her to sing it. But, oh, well, actually, okay, songs that I hate, anything, and I mean absolutely freaking anything by New Kids on the Block. Anything. Um,
She's just kidding.
no, I'm not. Um, I I had to when I worked at the bookstore that I mentioned. That was during the New Kids craze. So we sold Tiger Beat and Bop and all these other magazines that had these guys plastered all over them, and I would have to deal with these prepubescent twits coming in. Oh God! Oh Tony! Oh my gosh! I just want to go in the back and drive my head into the wall.
Well, like you weren't doing the same thing about Axl Rose a couple years later.
That's different.
Okay.
And
Hon, thank you for filling in for Dawn
well,
today.
thank
I
you for
really
having
appreciate
me.
it. Thank you everybody for stopping by. We
Thank
really
you. And
appreciate it.
Karen says thank you too.
Um, I have shows on TKR Video Central every day. Usually, definitely every day at 11 with Obscuria. Also at 4 and at 7. Some of the shows are now showing up on TKR Mixcloud. Kim is on my Tuesday at 7 p.m. time slot with Kim Takes On. And don't
Hmm.
forget Dawn. She is here Tuesday and Thursday with Chick Chat with her, with Mary, Dawn and Mary. And on Wednesday, they appear on Cajun Roots Resellers auction and do a Whatnot auction on Tuesday nights on at 7 p.m. And we hope that you will join them for that. Dawn will be back next time. She's hosting next time. I believe the topic will be Eurovision on the next show because it's one day before Eurovision kicks off. And I'm a big Eurovision fan and she's not, but we'll see. And then we'll do the spin the wheel later down the road. And we also have a special guest coming up in May. So that'll be fun too. Honey, thank you again. We really
No
appreciate it.
problem. I'm real glad I could help out.
And thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it. And we will
Bye.
see you in 2 weeks right here on Finding Your Music Mojo. Don't don't stay gone. All righty?
Bye now.